I believe the soul is pure love and is the bridge for spirit and body, the bridge between potential and matter, wave and particle. To me, this means a lot of things, such as my soul is here as part of infinite creation, where everything exists as potential and it manifests as 3D consciousness because that's the polarity of that potential. And in doing so, it fulfills creation. So I don't believe the soul is here learning lessons or in the earth school, as some people say. But I can see where people might have that belief in a sense because the soul comes to the physical as the oblivious soul. The moment we incarnate, our awareness, our knowledge, and our ability to discern, it all expands. And science has shown that the heart has its own thinking system. They call it the heart brain or the mini brain. And as embryos, our heart is the first organ to develop. So even then, I believe we're expanding as the soul in 3D consciousness. So over the past few days, there's been something that's been highlighted on my journey, and it's something many take for granted, and I've taken them for granted, which are feelings. And this goes hand in hand with the deeper healing that I've been experiencing lately too, because my feelings have been what have brought this healing into my awareness. And that's part of healing. We first have to become aware of the wounds and such before we can experience healing with them. I've experienced healing in my journey prior to this, but looking back, I can see how it was more of a mental healing during my spiritual growth cycles. And I'm going to come back and leave a link here to a future video so I don't get sidetracked on that. But I do eventually want to discuss in more depth the different ways we heal. Now I'm being led through healing emotionally, which is more heart focused. And I love how this happens. I swear I couldn't have made this stuff up. I've been going through more healing with more of an emotional focus. And it's because I'm growing from my heart. And I didn't put that together. Like that all came through my higher self. And it just totally fits, that it would be more of an emotional focus when you're growing from your heart. But everything I've grown with prior to this is tied into this. It's bringing in the mental, physical, and emotional bodies. Like how I often refer to the physical as our mind, body, and emotions. That's all healing so I can have physical alignment with my soul, physical alignment with my spirit, which is my soul, which is soul alignment. But what I've been getting lately is to do with why the soul experiences as 3D consciousness through feelings. Why are they so important? And of course, there's a lot of information available to us on that and helping us to understand the role our feelings play. But as I was getting this, I looked up things about feelings, and people talk about why we have them and how they can be beneficial to us, not to suppress them and all that. But I felt led to look at it from a soul perspective as to why our feelings play a part in our soul's experience, why our soul expresses through our feelings, and how they're linked to the heart, and how the heart is the portal for the soul. One thing I got from this is that the more we express our feelings in resonance with our soul, the more our heart chakra is at its intended vibration. And I believe the heart is the soul's portal, which may not be the best way to think of this because our soul emanates through our entire being. Like our body was made for our soul, and our body is its own form of consciousness as well, which is our physical frequency. But that physical frequency is part of our soul frequency. It just may not always be aligned with its intended design as part of our soul frequency. But to keep it simple, I just think of it as the soul's portal. It was why I had to go through clearing out really deep traumas and wounds, the really heavy imbalances in my other chakras, before I could grow from my heart. Because my heart is literally and figuratively the heart of my existence. And my soul is the source of my heart. It's yet another reason why twins feel the love we feel for each other. We're each within our own source. Also, we express feelings through all of our chakras in different ways, which is why when we have imbalances in our other chakras, the heart chakra struggles to vibrate as it's meant to, because the source, or even source energy, if you want to think of it that way, comes through the heart. As an awakened soul, my soul is seeking to balance my body with my spirit. It's also why I felt my twin and I came together in the heart chakra at soul recognition, because that's when our soul was awakened and our divine energy caused all of our chakras to be at their intended vibration, but it was on a spiritual level. Like we're spiritually gifted our balance even though we're not physically aligned. That's yet to come. So I heard through my inner voice that our soul design is to experience and express through feelings. So I asked, why is this? And what I got went in many directions, of course, and I'm sure more will come from this. But I understand that our feelings come from emotions, and emotions are love and fear, which is all just on the spectrum of pure love, with unconditional love being the exalted form and fear being the lower form. And I believe unconditional love is part of infinite creation. It's embracing all vibrations because all vibrations are within infinite creation, as it's in unconditional love, where you would have the lower and exalted forms of all experiences. But why does our soul need to feel? I hear because it creates, because feelings create, because they're part of infinite, limitless creation. Those feelings help us resonate with our soul because our feelings are part of our soul design. When I express my feelings, I can feel my soul's intention through them, whether I'm awakened or not. So I was thinking of an example of how I was looking at a post this morning my sister created for her 16-year-old dog who passed away a couple of days ago. And it brought tears to my eyes. And it made me think, why do I feel the sadness I feel? More than just the surface level experience of my feelings, of letting go of something or even suppressing them. Like, that's the info that's out there that I mentioned. There's such an abundance of, for our knowledge and well being. I'm kind of thinking of it from the soul perspective. But I think it's because my soul calls our experience to our attention through feelings, which is part of presence when we allow our feelings through our balance with our soul. And just thinking through this particular example, I acknowledged that this other soul, my sister's dog, who was a part of my life also, so I acknowledged that she was part of my experience, part of my creation in 3D. And through the sadness for the loss of her physical presence, it's like another way of allowing my heart to express love. I feel sad because of the love I feel, which sometimes feels like a low vibration, but by honoring those feelings, it brings us closer to our soul frequency, which in itself raises vibrations more consistently. Laughter, it raises our vibration because it resonates with me. This is important because resonance helps me balance with my soul. Like, it's that resonance that keeps my heart chakra in its intended flow. Anger, sadness, all of that, that doesn't mean I'm not following my higher self. We're not meant to shut out our 3D experience. And many people go in that direction with spirituality, in a direction I think only a few are probably guided towards. But many people try to force this in their journey because they think it's what spirituality is, attaining enlightenment and all of that, you know, zenning out, as they call it, which I think can be part of what some people refer to as a spiritual ego, where someone doesn't acknowledge the physical role of their spiritual journey. But to me, it's all one. It's all from potential, from spirit. It's just a denser expression. We're meant to feel our emotions. We're meant to recognize the role our twin flame plays in our journey. They're every bit a part of this as we are. And I've said this before, union as a shared soul is not spiritual union, not for a twin flame. That's for other people. They follow their higher self. They're in union. Union for twin flames is physical and spiritual because it's two bodies. That's the structure of the shared soul. If it were just spiritual union, we wouldn't be two bodies with one soul. It just can't be. And it can't happen in separation of spirit and body. It has to happen with both bodies coming into that simultaneously because they mirror each other. As a shared soul, it wouldn't be just one person being guided to align. Both are guided to align, and they can't grow from the heart if both are not open to their guidance. So it's in our heart that we grow and heal simultaneously so we can move into union as one. And I've shared this since I began posting on my journey, but I didn't have the details that I have now. It's expanded. But that just makes sense that we would experience union as one now that I understand how we're growing as one from our heart. And of course, because we're one soul, both come to union together. It's union. Like, I got that much at least at the start of my journey that we both come to union. And I usually emphasize this because many people who claim to be a twin flame believe healing, union, their journey are only about them and don't involve their twin. Like, how does that even begin to make sense? And I know someone might one day post a comment saying that this journey doesn't make sense. I've seen that before. The logical mind can't make sense of it, which it is difficult for the mind to grasp at first. And it's why we have to experience it. We can't just learn about it to truly understand it, to truly come into that knowing. But they'd probably be right in that it won't ever make sense to them because if you're in confusion, you're either still going through activation because that is a time of confusion. It's meant to be, it's part of activation. Or you're not being guided as a shared soul because you don't share your soul. If you do, I believe you're guided as such. And not to say that anyone has all the answers, but you have peace in your guidance that it comes to you as you ascend. What you need for your journey comes to you. And I'm not saying that to be insensitive, but there are many, many people who mistake their experiences as that of a shared soul. And it's obvious that that's not what they're experiencing because of their mentality, and it's in their actions and their words too. So, back to feeling out my soul design. I'm meant to feel sadness and anger, and just because I feel that doesn't mean I'm not in alignment with my soul. And it's actually in the way that I'm expressing it how I'm aligned or not aligned. And by that I mean, am I expressing anger from my ego, or am I expressing with a balance between my ego and my heart? Like, everything balances from the heart. Those feelings are there for a reason, and often we might think, I don't want to feel that way. But when we express our feelings through balance, it reflects in that spectrum of unconditional love, which allows for creation from that same energy. And this can be thought of as karma, but also it's part of manifesting. And when we allow our feelings through our heart, we manifest more through our potential versus manifesting by intentionally moving matter. And when we allow our feelings and explore them through our authenticity, through alignment with our soul, how they resonate with us and how they don't resonate with us, that's part of our soul design. That's honoring our soul design. We let go of conditions that shape our emotions and beliefs, which help us love ourselves, to have compassion for ourselves. It builds our self worth. And this all helps us go beyond the limits of fear. And this is all part of shifting into 5D consciousness. So I hope this encourages anyone who might have believed that their spiritual journey is nothing to do with the physical, or that they're not supposed to be sad or angry, all of that stuff, that they're only supposed to be in high vibrations or happy all the time. Like, that is so far from the truth. We're meant to be authentic. And that means letting our feelings express through our heart so we can be guided by our soul.